see. He would make a tremendous WWE superstar, and I just hope that if he does decide to come do something with WWE, that he sees how the business works and gains a little more respect for it.
Right, and then last week in our rumor mill, speaking of Conor McGregor, we were talking about Ronda Rousey as well, and she actually showed up at one of the NXT tapings.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
So
it's
maybe
it's on like popcorn.
But I saw she showed up. I didn't really read the context as to how she showed up.
I did not either.
So I don't know. Maybe, like I said, there's still rumors out there. Maybe she shows up at Survivor Series and confronts, the 4 WWE horsewomen or something like that, which is weird because Bayley right now is not included in that match. Oh, rumor mill. Speaking of that match, there is a rumor of a return tomorrow night. Did you read anything about it? There is a rumor there will be a return tomorrow night of one Paige.
What?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
There is a rumor that Paige is returning tomorrow night to Monday Night Raw. They originally said they wanted to bring her to SmackDown, but I heard she's going to come back to Raw, and she will be, rumor, the 5th member of that Raw team.
Wow.
So that's a big rumor right there. I am anxious to see the return of Paige because I ain't gonna lie, I miss me some Paige.
Yeah, I love Paige. She's got chops. I guess you put out some videos and you get a lot of talk on the interwebs. Mm-hmm. That's how you get back into the WWE.
Yeah, and of course, they had the incident with Del Rio at the airport and all that. All the things she's got going on. And I hope she can, fix all that.
She's troubled, bro.
Yeah, she's troubled outside the ring. Inside the ring, pure talent, amazing. And I'm really anxious to see, like I said, it's not for sure she's coming back tomorrow night, but it's a rumor. They say she's expected to come back tomorrow night, and they think she's going to join the Raw team. So I'm very excited at that possibility. So that's one more thing I needed to add to the
When she
rumor,
first came
rumor
out, I just remember thinking, oh, my God, I have never seen a lady wrestle this stiff. And I didn't think she was going to make it because I thought all the other girls were going to refuse to work with her because she was so stiff. But I was like, this chick is violent, bro. Mm-hmm. I love her wrestling style.
Absolutely, and I just like her overall. She does good on the mic, and she's a great wrestler.
Cool voice, yeah.
Absolutely, yep. That foreign voice she got. All right, so we're going to get to the big thing now in Cheap Heat. The UK tour, of course, winded up, I think, yesterday, day before yesterday, but it ended a little earlier for a couple of superstars. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they were sent home apparently for some sort of misconduct or something like that. Apparently, this is the rumor, and Dave Meltzer disputes this rumor, actually. The rumor was they were fighting, I believe, against the New Day, and after the match, they were supposed to feed the New Day, whatever the term where basically the New Day, beats him up and goes about their business. But apparently Owens and Zayn, got their shots in on them and then just left.
Yeah.
And that apparently didn't sit well. And, now, management's thinking that Zayn and Owens are kind of going into business for themselves. Mm-hmm. So they sent them home. But Dave Meltzer disagreed with that. He said that apparently there was a story about something that happened on a bus. And Meltzer said none of that was true, so we're still not exactly sure what's going on there, why they were sent home for sure. Because, like I said, Meltzer's, and he's one of the most credible guys in wrestling.
Right.
And if he says it's not true, I believe the guy. And so what I'm interested to see is how, because they're not booked for Survivor Series as of right now. Interested to see, maybe they're going to discipline them. You're not going to be on Survivor Series. We'll bring you back the week after. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to book them going forward the next few weeks, considering, that they sent them home.
Right, and then he also said it didn't have anything to do with Neville or Jacobs getting let go either.
No, I heard that was completely two different things.
Well, and it makes me wonder, then why would they send them home? If it doesn't have to do with your best friends getting let go, if it doesn't have to do with you going against WWE creative, there's also rumors that they're very unhappy backstage, which I think most WWE superstars are, because that seems to be a story that's almost linked to everybody these days, especially people that get released from WWE. They're like, it was the worst part in my life. I'm so glad I'm not in WWE. So it makes me wonder why something like, I don't even know what word I'm looking for. Why would they bring it to this level if it wasn't something that they just slapped creative in the face?
I mean, it could have been. Like I said, I really don't know. Apparently, there's conflicting stories, so I'm sure more will come out. We might have more on that on next week's edition, which will be a Survivor Series preview. Can't wait for that. I'm extremely excited for that. So, but yeah, Zayn and Owens were sent home, and we don't know what their future is as far as if they're going to be booked. I don't think they're going to be fired. I don't think they can afford to fire those two guys. I mean, you got two of the top heels on the SmackDown brand. And Zayn's been on point, man. He's just been so condescending as a heel. I really like heel Zayn. Mm-hmm. And him working with Owens, obviously they're real-life best friends.
Yeah.
I mean, they have such good chemistry together. I really like that, and it's unfortunate that they were sent home for whatever reason. And hopefully, they bring them back, they book them in something big going down the line.
I tend to believe more of them doing what they want, and I think KO being the ringleader of that, because of what I've heard from Jim Cornette in his time working in Ring of Honor. And he said Kevin Steen is a jerk. He said Kevin Steen does what he wants when he wants, and he never listened to management in ROH.
Yeah.
Now, is Triple H ringing him in because he's a Triple H guy? I don't know. But I kind of tend to believe that they're going in business for themselves, and Kevin Owens is the ringleader, and he's telling Sammy, I got this. Don't worry about it. I've been doing this my whole career, and look where I'm at now. If you're good, they won't fire you.
Yeah, so
I don't know, man.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to them going forward. So
yeah. Cornette said him and Steen got in the most epic yelling matches in Ring of Honor, and I can only imagine how that went. I'm pretty sure it was a million F-bombs.
Kevin just looks like the type, just to be like that. So he just has that face.
Yeah.
The former face of America.
And boy, did he marry up. His wife is hot.
Some guys it's like Brett Bielema, the head coach at Arkansas. You look at Brett Bielema, and then you see his wife, and it's like, holy smokes.
I've never seen that, huh?
You need to look that up. Brett Bielema, I know this is a wrestling podcast, kind of going off a little college football reference there, but the head football coach at Arkansas, his, most people know what he looks like.
Yeah.
Go look at his wife. Boy, she's the hottest wife in the SEC, in my opinion.
Well, like a paper in the UK did like a survey, and they found out that women who marry, I guess, ugly men or not as attractive men as they could get are way more happier because that man tries harder.
Yeah.
In every facet of the life, getting her more stuff, showering her with gifts.
I can speak to that.
In the bedroom,
Not saying I have a hot girlfriend or anything, but I'm not the best looking dude, and I'm always going after girls that look way better than me and way out of my league, and you better believe I'm trying hard to get that.
Yeah.
Damn right. You damn right.
You know it.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. So a cool new little segment we're going to do now is on this week in wrestling history. Normally it's on this day, but obviously a big event happened 20 years ago to this week. I think it was like last Wednesday or something. The Montreal Screwjob.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the most memorable, I say memorable, might not have been so good for Bret Hart, but as a wrestling fan, one of the more memorable moments in the history of wrestling. Obviously, for those of you who've been living under a rock all these years, don't know what the Montreal Screwjob is. Survivor Series 1997. Bret Hart goes in to Montreal, his home country, the WWE champion, and he's facing Shawn Michaels, who was the heel at the time, member of DX, and Bret Hart had the Hart Foundation. Bret Hart, that was supposed to be his last match at WWE, and he was getting ready to go to WCW. Now, the original plan that Bret Hart and Vince McMahon and everybody agreed on was that Bret Hart was going to go over on Shawn Michaels. Now, what would have happened if they took the title from him? I don't know. But apparently, McMahon and Michaels went into business for themselves, said, Shawn, you're taking the title from him. And what happened was Michaels at some point, it was a good match, and at some point in the match, Michaels gets Bret Hart into Bret Hart's finishing move, the sharpshooter, and Earl Hebner was the referee. Earl Hebner, and Bret's in the sharpshooter. He's not tapping, but Earl Hebner's looking at him for a few seconds and then looks over and points to the bell guy, ring the bell, this one's over, and Earl Hebner hauls butt. He hauls butt out of there, and Michaels lets go. He hears the bell, and Michaels obviously was in it, and Michaels just kind of like is standing there. Bret, no idea what just happened. McMahon standing on the at ringside, and Bret just gets up and looks at him and spits at him. I mean, Bret didn't know what happened, but it didn't take him long to realize what just happened. Michaels goes, grabs the belt, and Michaels and them get out of Dodge real quick, too, because, I mean, they're in Canada. I mean, the fans were not happy. They started throwing things, and then, Bret goes off to WCW and eventually returns to WWE I think like 12, 13 years later back in 2010. So it was just an absolute... it was chaos. It was controversy, disappointment, I guess you can say, in a way, at least from the side of Bret Hart. Now, apparently, I heard a story that McMahon went into Bret's locker room afterwards, and Bret laid him out. Bret, I think McMahon was it's probably along the lines of, I deserve it, take a shot, and fucking Bret, I almost cursed there, kind of did. Might have to edit that out. But Bret socked him, and
knocked him out.
Yeah, socked
Cold.
him in the locker room after that, and then of course, like I said, the rest is history. So that this week in wrestling history, 20 years ago, the Montreal Screwjob. If you've never seen it, WWE Network Survivor Series 1997. It was the main event. Go watch it. It was Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels always put on some great matches. Another one too, WrestleMania 12, the Iron Man match. Go watch that one as well. Yeah. So anything you have for this week in wrestling history?
Well, no, I want to talk more about that.
Go ahead.
I mean that overshadows everything.
Oh, absolutely.
What an epic loogie from Bret Hart.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he hawked it up and right in McMahon's eye.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Laser point accuracy.
I tell you what, that might be the best loogie shot in the history of loogies.
Yes.
Because he wasn't exactly in his face. He was up on the ring, and McMahon was probably a good 10 feet, at least 5, 6, 7 feet away. And to hawk a loogie at McMahon from up above and hit him in the face like that, man, talk about some loogie accuracy from the Hitman.
Absolutely amazing. Then there's a video of backstage, and there's a whole bunch of wrestlers by McMahon's office, right? And Triple H is one of them. And Bret Hart's wife is like, "You knew what was happening, Hunter. You knew it." And he's sitting there, he's like, "No, I didn't know anything. I didn't know." And so...
Well, I don't think anybody knew. I think the only people that knew was probably McMahon, Michaels, and Hebner, and that was about it.
And then, so right off the bat, his wife knows that Hunter's in it. She knows Shawn Michaels is in it, and they're on conclusion with McMahon. And then later on in the video, you see McMahon stumbling out of his office from getting punched out by Bret. That was awesome. And then, of course, as you alluded to, Bret went to WCW, and Vince Russo mishandled the hottest wrestler in wrestling at the time and ruined his career. Way to go, Vince Russo.
Yeah, well, no love lost for Vince Russo on this podcast, I tell you what. So, but yeah, the Montreal Screwjob 20 years ago. Anything else you want to add to it?
No. The only other thing that I can think of is that, Bret has always been a man of his word.
Yeah.
He said he was going to give the title back the next day at Raw. Mm-hmm. Believe the guy.
Yeah.
He made you so much money.
Mm-hmm.
He was the face of your promotion, and to screw him like that, that's pretty dastardly. I also understand what McMahon was thinking. I can't have this guy showing up on Nitro with my belt.
Yeah.
What if he screws me?
Yeah, because imagine if that happens, how that may affect, the Monday Night War. That could have been some kind of turning point in the Monday Night War, and I don't think... And at the time, I mean, WWE was in a war with... That might have been in the middle or around the time that WCW Nitro won 84 weeks in a row, so that was the epitome of the Monday Night War, and Vince just didn't want to take any chances, I guess.
No. So, I mean, I can understand both sides, but at the same time, I mean, you can't fault Bret for wanting to make more money because the payday that he was going to get from WCW, it would be a lunacy for him to turn down. I don't know. I mean, I guess the more I talk about it now, I'm torn, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Well, it happened, and WWE's fortunate that Bret came back to do some work with them in 2010. So, I think all is well now. But we haven't seen Bret in a while though on WWE TV.
Yeah.
So, but I think he's kind of he's doing his own thing now. He doesn't need to get he doesn't need that anymore. So
right, I tell you what, green can cure a lot of wounds.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Hey, this is what we're going to pay you to come back. Oh, okay. Bygones be bygones.
Montreal what? Okay.
Yeah. It's all good.
That was our on this week in wrestling history. We're starting to run low on time. We went a little over the time we want. Of course, the lucky thing for us, nobody's restricting us, so we can just go as long as we want.
Exactly.
But we don't want to sit here and babble all day long because you fans, we want to get to the point and all that stuff. So what we're gonna do though, we're gonna get ready to close it out. What I'm gonna do real quick is run down the updated card for Wrestle Kingdom coming up January the 4th.
Yep.
Cody defending his Ring of Honor World Championship against Kota Ibushi. Roppongi 3K, which is Sho and Yo, they're defending